Imagine you are standing by a river, watching the water flow effortlessly over the rocks. The current doesn't stop for the rocks, it simply moves around them. Now think of yourself as that river and life's challenges, including anger and frustration, as the rocks. Detachment is the skill that allows you to flow around obstacles without being stopped by them. But what does detachment really mean, and how can you use it to never get angry or bothered by anyone? Detachment is not indifference or apathy. It's not about pretending that nothing matters or isolating yourself emotionally from the world. Instead, detachment is about separating your inner peace from the chaos of external events. It's the ability to step back and observe a situation without being consumed by it. It's about recognizing that while you cannot control what others say or do, you can always control your reaction. This control is the foundation of true strength and tranquility. Why do we get angry in the first place? Anger often stems from unmet expectations, hurt pride, or a sense of injustice. When someone cuts you off in traffic, criticizes you unfairly, or says something offensive, your initial reaction might be to lash out, feel hurt, or let it ruin your day. But here's the truth: their actions are theirs to own, your reaction is yours. Detachment teaches you to pause in these moments, reflect, and choose not to engage with negativity. Steps to practice detachment. Acknowledge the trigger. The first step is awareness. Notice when someone's actions or words start to bother you. Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of immediately reacting defensively, pause and think, I feel irritated, but why? Is this about me, or is it their perspective? This simple acknowledgement creates a gap between the trigger and your reaction. Understand the source. Detachment also involves understanding the root of other people's behavior. Often their negativity has nothing to do with you. A rude comment, for instance, might come from someone's own frustration, insecurities, or bad day. By reminding yourself that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you, you can detach emotionally from their words. Don't personalize everything. One of the biggest traps is taking things personally. When someone criticizes you, it's easy to feel attacked. But detachment means recognizing that their perspective is theirs alone, it's not an absolute truth. Imagine someone saying, "You're terrible at your job," instead of internalizing it. Think that's their opinion, not a fact. By not personalizing, you strip their words of power over you. Focus on what you can control. Detachment also involves a shift in focus. Rather than dwelling on what someone said or did, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? You can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how much energy you give to their negativity. By focusing on your response, you reclaim your power. Let go of expectations. Much of our frustration with others comes from expecting them to behave in a certain way. Detachment teaches you to release these expectations. People are who they are, not who you want them to be. When you stop expecting others to act according to your standards, their behavior no longer holds the same power to disturb you. The benefits of detachment. When you master detachment, you experience a profound sense of freedom. No longer are you a puppet pulled by the strings of others' opinions, actions, or emotions. You become the director of your own mental state, choosing peace over anger, calm over chaos. This doesn't mean you'll never face challenges or difficult people. But with detachment, those challenges lose their ability to derail you. For example, imagine you're in a heated argument, and instead of getting swept up in the emotions, you step back mentally. You see the argument not as a battlefield, but as an opportunity to practice restraint. The other person's anger becomes their problem, not yours. You respond with calm, and the situation diffuses, or at least doesn't escalate. You've taken control by refusing to engage emotionally. Detachment is a practice that takes time and effort, but the rewards are immense. It's about choosing how you respond to life's challenges, rather than being swept away by them. It's about becoming unshakable, like a tree deeply rooted in the ground, no matter how strong the wind blows. The next time someone tries to disturb your peace, remember you're the river, not the rocks. Flow around them and keep moving forward. Understanding yourself deeply is one of the most profound journeys you can embark on. When you truly know who you are, what you value, and what drives you, you build an inner foundation that is unshakable. This self-awareness becomes a shield against anger and frustration, for you no longer depend on others to define your worth or dictate your emotional state. It allows you to respond to the world rather than react impulsively, and gives you the power to remain composed no matter what comes your way. To begin, consider the importance of understanding your triggers. We all have them, those specific words, actions, or situations that seem to set us off. Perhaps it's being interrupted during a conversation, feeling undervalued, or being treated unfairly. These triggers often stem from deeper insecurities or unresolved issues within us. By identifying and examining them, you take the first step in dismantling their power. The next time you feel anger bubbling up, pause and ask yourself, why does this bother me? Is it really about this person, or is it touching a deeper nerve? This introspection is not about assigning blame to yourself, but about taking ownership of your emotions. When you understand your triggers, you can begin to diffuse them. Another key aspect of self-understanding is recognizing your values. Values are the principles that guide your decisions and shape your identity. When you're clear about what matters most to you, the opinions and actions of others lose their ability to disturb you. For example, if kindness is one of your core values, someone's rudeness will feel less personal because you see their behavior as a reflection of their struggles, not your worth. Knowing your values also helps you set boundaries. If honesty is a priority, you're less likely to tolerate deceit, not out of anger, but because it clashes with what you stand for. This clarity keeps you centered and prevents unnecessary emotional entanglements. Equally important is understanding your emotions as they arise. Anger, frustration, and irritation are natural feelings, but they are often misunderstood. Instead of labeling them as bad, see them as signals. Anger, for instance, might indicate a perceived injustice or a boundary being crossed. Frustration could point to unmet expectations or a need for patience. By analyzing these emotions, you can address their root causes instead of being swept away by them. Self-understanding teaches you that emotions are temporary, they rise and fall like waves. You are the ocean beneath, vast and steady, unaffected by the surface turbulence. Self-awareness also extends to understanding the stories you tell yourself. Often we create narratives around events that magnify our anger or hurt. If a colleague criticizes your work, you might think, they don't respect me or I'm not good enough. These stories fuel negative emotions and distort reality. By questioning these narratives, you can shift your perspective. Ask yourself, is this thought true? What evidence supports it? More often than not, you'll find that the stories are exaggerated or unfounded. Reframing them allows you to respond with calm rather than defensiveness. Another layer of self-understanding involves recognizing your patterns of behavior. Do you tend to withdraw when angry? Do you lash out or hold grudges? Reflecting on these patterns helps you identify areas for growth. For instance, if you notice that you often replay arguments in your mind, dwelling on what you could have said, you can practice letting go and focusing on the present moment. If you find yourself avoiding conflict out of fear, you can work on asserting yourself calmly and confidently. These shifts don't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, they become second nature. Self-understanding is a dynamic process. As you grow and evolve, so will your insights about yourself. It's important to remain curious and open, treating yourself with compassion along the way. The more you understand yourself, the less others' actions will affect you. You'll find that your sense of worth and peace comes from within, not from external validation. In this state, anger and frustration become rare visitors, and even when they appear, they pass through quickly, leaving your inner calm intact. Perspective is one of the most powerful tools you have for maintaining emotional equilibrium and never letting anger or frustration take hold. The way you perceive events, people, and situations determines your emotional response. When you shift your perspective, you gain the ability to transform challenges into opportunities, negativity into learning moments, and difficult people into unexpected teachers. The power to remain unbothered lies in your capacity to see things differently, and that begins with recognizing that your perception is a choice. Life is full of situations that test your patience. Perhaps someone criticizes you harshly, cuts you off in traffic, or speaks to you rudely. The instinctive reaction might be anger or irritation, but what if you viewed these moments differently? Instead of seeing them as personal attacks, you could choose to see them as neutral events, or better yet, as opportunities to practice patience and resilience. Perspective doesn't mean denying reality, it means broadening your understanding of it. For instance, a rude comment from someone might initially sting, but if you pause and consider that they might be having a bad day or dealing with personal struggles, the sting fades. You shifted your focus from reacting emotionally to understanding empathetically. A key element of perspective is the ability to reframe situations. Reframing means taking a step back and looking at an event from a different angle. Suppose you're in a meeting and someone dismisses your ideas. Your initial thought might be, they don't respect me, leading to feelings of anger or hurt. But if you reframe the situation, you might think, perhaps they're stressed about something unrelated, or they didn't fully understand my point. This reframing allows you to remain calm and composed, preserving your peace while keeping the door open for constructive dialogue. Another powerful way to cultivate perspective is to focus on the bigger picture. Many of the things that upset us in the moment are fleeting and insignificant in the grand scheme of life. Imagine someone cutting in front of you in line. While it's irritating in the moment, does it really matter a day later, a week later, or in the context of your overall happiness? By training yourself to zoom out and view situations with a wider lens, you reduce their emotional impact. You realize that most annoyances are temporary and not worth your energy. Perspective also involves recognizing the difference between what you can control and what you cannot. Often, frustration arises from trying to change things beyond your control, such as other people's behavior or external circumstances. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, reactions, and actions, you empower yourself to stay centered. For example, if a colleague is consistently negative, you can't change their attitude, but you can control how much weight you give their words or how much time you spend around them. This shift in focus helps you avoid unnecessary frustration. A useful exercise in cultivating perspective is imagining yourself in the other person's shoes. Empathy is a powerful antidote to anger. When someone acts in a way that bothers you, ask yourself, what might they be going through? Perhaps their behavior is a result of stress, insecurity, or a lack of awareness. Viewing them with compassion doesn't excuse their actions, but it helps you respond with understanding rather than anger. It reminds you that everyone is fighting their own battles, just as you are. Another aspect of perspective is embracing the idea that challenges and difficult people are opportunities for growth. Every time you encounter a frustrating situation, you have a chance to practice patience, resilience, and self-control. Think of these moments as training for your inner strength. Just as muscles grow stronger with resistance, your ability to remain unbothered grows with each challenge you face. Over time, you'll find that what once triggered anger now feels like a minor inconvenience, or even a moment of clarity. Perspective is about choosing how you see the world and your place in it. When you shift your focus from blame to understanding, from frustration to growth, and from control to acceptance, you free yourself from the grip of anger and negativity. Life becomes less about reacting to external events and more about cultivating your inner peace. The world may not change, but your perception of it can, and that makes all the difference. Letting go is one of the most liberating practices you can adopt, and it's an essential step toward never being angered or bothered by others. The art of letting go isn't about giving up or avoiding challenges, it's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that holds you back. It's about recognizing that clinging to anger, resentment, or grudges only prolongs your suffering and gives power to the very people or situations that upset you in the first place. Letting go is not just an action, it's a mindset that fosters inner peace and emotional resilience. To understand the importance of letting go, imagine carrying a heavy bag of stones. Each stone represents a grievance, a hurtful word, or an unmet expectation. The more you hold on to these stones, the heavier the bag becomes, slowing you down and draining your energy. Letting go is the act of putting down the bag. It doesn't mean the stones disappear, they still exist, but they no longer weigh you down. The freedom you feel when you release that burden is unparalleled. The first step to letting go is acknowledging the emotions you're holding on to. Denying or suppressing anger and resentment doesn't make them go away, it only buries them deeper, where they can fester and grow. Instead, allow yourself to feel these emotions without judgment. If someone has wronged you, it's natural to feel upset. Recognize these feelings as valid but also as temporary. Tell yourself, I feel this now, but I don't need to carry it forever. By acknowledging your emotions, you take the first step toward releasing them. Letting go also requires a shift in mindset. One of the main reasons people struggle to release anger or frustration is the mistaken belief that holding on to these feelings somehow punishes the person who caused them. In reality, the opposite is true. Holding on to anger harms you far more than it affects the other person. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you let go, you're not excusing their behavior, you're choosing your own well-being over the need to hold a grudge. Another key to letting go is focusing on forgiveness, not necessarily for the other person's sake, but for your own. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning hurtful actions. It means deciding not to let those actions control your emotions any longer. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. For instance, if someone betrayed your trust, you might think, I can't change what happened, but I won't let this define me or dictate how I feel moving forward. Forgiveness is an act of self-care that allows you to move on without carrying the pain of the past. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in the process of letting go. When you practice mindfulness, you learn to stay present and grounded, rather than getting lost in the cycle of ruminating over past hurts. Imagine a negative thought arising like, I can't believe they said that to me. Instead of engaging with the thought, observe it as if it were a cloud drifting by. Acknowledge it without judgment and let it pass. Over time, this practice weakens the grip of anger and makes letting go feel more natural. Another way to let go is to focus on gratitude and positivity. It's hard to cling to resentment when you're actively appreciating the good things in your life. Make it a habit to reflect on what you're grateful for, even in challenging moments. For example, if a co-worker's behavior frustrates you, shift your focus to the aspects of your job that you enjoy or the people who support you. Gratitude shifts your energy away from negativity and toward positivity, making it easier to release anger. Learning to let go also involves setting boundaries. Sometimes the best way to release negativity is to limit your exposure to people or situations that consistently disturb your peace. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out, it's about protecting your well-being. For example, if a friend frequently criticizes you, you can communicate your feelings and set limits on how much of that behavior you're willing to tolerate. By creating boundaries, you make space for yourself to let go of resentment and focus on healthier interactivity. Letting go is a practice that requires patience and repetition. It's not a one-time decision, but an ongoing process. Some hurts may take longer to release than others, and that's okay. Each time you choose to let go, you're strengthening your ability to detach from negativity. Over time, it becomes easier, and you find yourself less affected by the actions of others. Letting go is about reclaiming your peace and living in the present. It's about choosing freedom over the chains of anger, resentment. The next time you feel burdened by someone's words or actions, Remind yourself you have the power to let this go. When you do, you'll discover a sense of lightness and clarity that allows you to move forward unshaken and unbothered. Cultivating inner peace is not just a luxury in today's chaotic world, it's a necessity for maintaining emotional resilience and ensuring that external forces don't disrupt your tranquility. Inner peace serves as a foundation for mental clarity, emotional stability, and a life unbothered by negativity. By consciously building habits that nourish your mind and spirit, you create a protective barrier against the stresses and frustrations of daily life. This keynote explores practical and transformative ways to cultivate inner peace, ensuring that you remain centered and unshakable regardless of external circumstances. Inner peace begins with creating a daily practice that anchors you. Just as you would nourish your body with healthy food, your mind and spirit require nurturing routines. Meditation is one of the most effective ways to achieve this. By sitting quietly and focusing on your breath, you train your mind to stay present. This practice helps you detach from racing thoughts and external triggers. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a significant difference. Over time, you'll find that meditation strengthens your ability to respond thoughtfully to situations rather than reacting impulsively. It creates a calm center within you that remains steady, even when life feels turbulent. Another critical aspect of inner peace is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment without judgment. When you're mindful, you become more aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. For instance, if someone criticizes you, mindfulness allows you to notice the immediate emotional reaction, perhaps hurt or anger, without being consumed by it. You observe the feeling, acknowledge it, and let it pass, rather than letting it spiral into a full-blown reaction. Practicing mindfulness throughout your day while eating, walking, or even working cultivates a deep sense of calm and reduces the power of external irritants. Gratitude is another powerful tool for fostering inner peace. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack or what frustrates you, your perspective shifts. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice the positive aspects of life, making challenges feel less overwhelming. Consider starting or ending your day with a simple gratitude practice. Write down 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small they may seem. Over time, this habit trains your mind to focus on abundance and joy rather than dwelling on negativity. Gratitude acts as a buffer, making you less susceptible to anger and frustration. Cultivating inner peace also involves nurturing your physical well-being. The mind and body are deeply interconnected, and neglecting one affects the other. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep play vital roles in stabilizing your mood and increasing your capacity to handle stress. When your body is cared for, your mind becomes clearer and more resilient. A simple walk in nature, for example, can do wonders for your mental state. Nature has a calming effect, helping you reconnect with the present moment and reset your perspective. Another way to cultivate inner peace is through intentional detachment from distractions and negativity. In today's digital age, constant notifications, social media, and endless news cycles can overwhelm your mind. Make it a habit to unplug regularly. Spend time away from screens, whether it's by reading a book, journaling, or simply sitting in silence. Disconnecting from external noise gives you the space to reconnect with yourself. This practice also helps you become less reactive to the external world, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Building meaningful connections with others can also enhance inner peace. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Positive relationships act as a source of strength, providing a sense of belonging and emotional safety. Conversely, be mindful of relationships that drain your energy or bring unnecessary conflict. Setting boundaries with such individuals is an act of self-care, allowing you to protect your peace without guilt. Inner peace thrives when you let go of the need to control everything. Life is unpredictable, and attempting to micromanage every detail only leads to frustration. Accepting uncertainty and focusing on what you can control, your attitude, your actions, and your reactions brings a sense of freedom. This doesn't mean resigning to inaction, rather, it's about recognizing that some things are beyond your influence and choosing not to waste energy on them. Another essential habit is practicing self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a close friend. When you make a mistake or face a setback, avoid harsh self-criticism. Instead, remind yourself that you're human and that growth often comes from challenges. Self-compassion builds resilience, helping you bounce back more quickly and maintain a sense of peace, even in difficult times. Lastly, remember that cultivating inner peace is a journey, not a destination. It requires consistent effort and a willingness to adapt as life evolves. There will be moments when you feel thrown off balance, and that's okay. What matters is your commitment to returning to practices that ground you. Over time, these habits become second nature, creating a solid foundation of peace that remains intact regardless of external circumstances. By integrating these practices into your daily life, you'll find that anger and frustration lose their grip on you. Inner peace becomes your natural state, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with grace and composure. You'll discover that true strength lies not in controlling the world around you, but in mastering the world within.